Breaking news today, the Department of Justice has initiated a grand jury investigation into the alleged Russiagate conspiracy. This move raises significant questions about the underlying forces in Washington and what they might have concealed from the public.
Hello, and welcome to That News Show, where we discuss the latest facts, fakes, and hypocrisy as reported by the legacy media. Let's roll the tape.
Fox News reports that the DOJ has initiated a grand jury investigation into allegations surrounding the Russiagate conspiracy. Tonight, consider this. What does it mean when those tasked with protecting democracy are instead undermining it? For years, the Russia investigation, purportedly a tool against President Trump, was propelled by the previous Democratic administration, echoed by media allies, and endorsed by unelected intelligence officials. Now, the Department of Justice is finally addressing the possibility that the true conspiracy might have originated not in Moscow, but right here in Washington. Why the delay? What does this expose about the influence of entrenched bureaucrats who operate without accountability? This issue goes beyond mere politics. It questions whether elected officials genuinely hold power or if hidden forces within the government can subvert the voters' will at their convenience. Stay tuned as we explore what this development means for the nation, justice, and the future of American governance. Buckle up, folks.
While a DOJ spokesperson declined to comment on this report of an investigation, Fox is told Attorney General Bondi is taking the referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, quote, very seriously. The spokesperson says that Bondi believes there is, quote, clear cause for deep concern, end quote, and a need for the next step.
Attorney General Bondi's decision to treat referrals from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard with utmost seriousness reflects the accountability Americans have long demanded at the highest government levels. For too long, the previous administration and its intelligence community allies seemed to undermine a duly elected president through politicized intelligence and secretive processes, eroding public trust in our institutions. Now, with Bondi, a seasoned prosecutor known for challenging entrenched interests leading the Department of Justice, we see a shift from the partisan gamesmanship and selective enforcement that characterized the Biden and Harris era. This grand jury investigation goes beyond political score settling. It aims to restore faith in the rule of law and ensure that no official, regardless of rank or party, is above scrutiny. The evidence Director Gabbard has uncovered, including declassified documents and internal communications, suggests a pattern of intelligence manipulation for political ends, directed from the top of the Obama administration. These aren't minor errors, but significant breaches that raise questions about the misuse of surveillance powers and the weaponization of federal agencies against political opponents. Opting for a grand jury instead of appointing another special counsel allows the Justice Department direct oversight and a more decisive process. This approach marks a significant departure from past investigations, which often seem more focused on protecting bureaucratic interests than uncovering the truth. Bondi's commitment to transparency and justice is clear, even if it means exposing uncomfortable truths about former intelligence chiefs and cabinet officials. Republicans in Congress believe this investigation could be more consequential than Watergate. The American people deserve to know if their government was compromised by unelected officials and partisan actors undermining voter will. The Democrats' dismissal of these concerns as politically motivated only highlights their reluctance to address the real issues, electoral integrity, and the limits of executive power. Some in the intelligence community and the media warned that this investigation could have a chilling effect on analysts and jeopardize intelligence sources. The true threat to our national security lies not in oversight but in unchecked power and the lack of accountability that led to these abuses. This investigation is a necessary corrective to years of overreach and bureaucratic arrogance, serving as a warning against using government machinery for partisan purposes. Americans are tired of secret deals and backroom schemes by elites who believe they know better than the populace. This investigation reaffirms that the government should serve the citizens, not the other way around. As the grand jury process unfolds, it's crucial that the Department of Justice continues to act independently and impartially, regardless of whose reputation is at stake. The era of selective justice and double standards must end, and this investigation is a vital step toward that goal.
Well, the potential charges, and I want to use the word potential, would be lying to a federal official, which is a felony to do so. If you lie to an FBI agent or you lie to another federal official, there could be charges involved with there, and I'm told those
potential felony charges for lying to a federal official, including an FBI agent, underscore that accountability must extend to all government levels, particularly after years of selective enforcement and double standards by the previous administration. The Department of Justice's decision to pursue grand jury proceedings instead of relegating these allegations to protracted special counsel investigations, marks a significant shift toward genuine transparency and equal justice. For too long, influential figures in the intelligence community have operated with near total impunity, often protected by partisan allies and a compliant media. During the Biden era, rogue agents and prosecutors weaponized their authority to pursue political vendettas, notably against President Trump and his supporters, while disregarding credible evidence of misconduct within their ranks. The exposure of FBI officials determined to target Trump at any cost, even if it involved false accusations or the destruction of government records, exemplifies how federal law enforcement was manipulated for political gain. These are not isolated incidents, but reflect a broader pattern of abuse that eroded public trust and subverted democratic processes. The ongoing investigation into potential felony charges for lying to federal officials is not merely about individual accountability. It's about restoring the rule of law and recalibrating the balance between unelected bureaucrats and the elected government. Opting for regular federal prosecutors over another insulated special counsel is a positive step that promises quicker, more decisive action. This strategy also signals to the entrenched bureaucracy that the era of hiding behind institutional protections is ending. Democrats and their media allies may dismiss these proceedings as politically motivated, but such claims seem insincere after years of their own partisan investigations and selective leaks. The real danger to our system stems from those who believe their political goals justify any means, including lying to federal officials or manipulating intelligence for partisan advantage. If the grand jury uncovers enough evidence, charges should be filed no matter how high the misconduct reaches. This is crucial to deter future abuses and ensure that federal power is never used as a weapon against the American people. This investigation also underscores the urgent need for broader reforms, enhanced oversight of intelligence agencies, stricter limits on surveillance powers, and tangible consequences for those who misuse their authority. As we approach another election cycle, the stakes are incredibly high. Americans deserve a government that is transparent, accountable, and prioritizes their interests, not those of globalist elites or partisan insiders. The outcome of this grand jury will determine whether we can move past years of politicized justice and rebuild confidence in our essential institutions.
Those could be the most likely. That's something that we saw in the John Durham investigation. He was the former special counsel that was appointed by then Attorney General Bill Barr, and those are the types of charges that he used in his cases. He actually lost both times in court, but he did secure a plea deal with a former FBI attorney for falsifying a document. So those seem to be, or that seems to be, when I say those, I should say that because that's just one charge. But that's the charge in talking to sources that people have been eyeing for weeks. But this letter, this initial letter signed by the Attorney General that we reviewed, does not say anything about specific charges.
Durham's investigation, initiated by Attorney General Bill Barr, set a clear precedent with its focus on charges like false statements to federal officials, despite mixed outcomes in court. Notably, Durham secured a plea deal with former FBI attorney Kevin Kleinsmith for falsifying a document in a FISA Justify application. This case highlights the importance of targeted accountability for specific misconduct, reinforcing concerns that federal agencies have sometimes misused their authority for partisan purposes. Fox News has been at the forefront of covering the DOJ's new direction, providing exclusive access to the grand jury authorization order and offering detailed timelines through effective use of graphics and document excerpts. Their reporting could benefit from more in-depth legal analysis and contributions from independent legal experts to enhance credibility and balance. While Fox excels visually, it sometimes focuses too much on partisan conflict rather than the legal standards at play. Explaining the DOJ's choice for grand jury proceedings over appointing another special counsel and how this reflects a move toward more direct oversight could clarify the implications of these legal actions. The seriousness of the issues at hand is underscored by the Durham probe's only successful prosecution, a plea deal for falsifying evidence. This emphasizes the current grand jury's mandate to restore public trust by holding officials accountable, regardless of their rank or political affiliation. The reported efforts by the Clinton campaign to fabricate links between Donald Trump and Russia, as detailed in the declassified Durham Annex, show the lengths to which some are willing to manipulate the electoral process in federal agencies for partisan gain. Fox's coverage rightly points out the new scope of the current investigation, but could further highlight its bipartisan implications. Despite some dismissing these proceedings as politically motivated, the evidence suggests otherwise. The American public deserves a clear, unfiltered presentation of these facts. The lesson from the Durham investigation is clear. Exposing misconduct is crucial for the health of our democracy. The DOJ's current approach, building on Durham's groundwork, addresses years of unchecked power and bureaucratic overreach. These proceedings aim to ensure that intelligence agencies and federal prosecutors act in the public's interest, not according to political or globalist agendas. As the country watches, it is vital that accountability extends beyond mere rhetoric.
Okay, David Spunt, excellent breaking news today on Attorney General Pam Bondi forwarding an order to a grand jury, to a prosecutor to seek a grand jury on the evidence we now know on what is called the Russiagate hoax. Just to recap, Attorney General Pam Bondi directed a U.S.
This grand jury move marks not only a legal milestone, but also a critical moment for economic and institutional accountability. When federal agencies are used for partisan gain, it affects more than just politics. It undermines investor confidence and erodes the trust essential to our markets. For years, families have observed unelected bureaucrats and political insiders manipulate narratives, impacting retirement accounts, small businesses, and household budgets. Now, the Department of Justice's decision to bring these allegations before a grand jury signals a commitment to the rule of law and transparency, both of which are vital for a healthy economy. Consider the financial system as a neighborhood bank. When tellers and managers play favorites or manipulate accounts, depositors withdraw their funds, loans become scarce, and the community suffers. This analogy extends to the national level. Economic actions by the Obama-era intelligence community to fabricate connections between a Republican candidate and a foreign power did more than tarnish reputations. They introduced risk into every sector, from technology to manufacturing, making regulatory outcomes unpredictable and leading to costly investigations. With the initiation of this grand jury process, we are witnessing a necessary course correction. The DOJ's direct oversight, as opposed to delegating to a special counsel, promises less bureaucratic delay and more decisive action. This is precisely what markets and working families need: a stable, predictable regulatory environment where sectors like energy, agriculture, and banking can thrive. When government overreach is curtailed, businesses can plan, invest, and hire without fear of politically motivated probes or abrupt regulatory changes. For consumers, this means more stable prices, greater job security, and an environment conducive to innovation. Fair and transparent rules enhance competition, benefiting American families at the checkout and in their paychecks. The grand jury's efforts remind us that accountability at the highest levels go beyond politics. It's about restoring conditions that allow Main Street and Wall Street to prosper together. Looking forward, the long-term impact of this investigation could be significant. If it leads to genuine accountability, it will send a clear message to bureaucrats and political operatives: the misuse of federal power for political purposes must end. This is encouraging news for anyone who values limited government, sound financial policies, and the right of Americans to pursue prosperity without interference from partisan insiders. This reset could help restore faith in our institutions and economy, paving the way for a more secure financial future for all Americans. That's another interesting spin by the news media. Tonight, we are witnessing the walls finally closing in, not on the American people, but on the architects of the so-called Russia hoax. These individuals spent years manipulating our government against a duly elected president. This grand jury investigation, long overdue, marks the first true accountability for a bureaucracy that believed itself above the law. This was all supported by a Democratic Party and a media establishment desperate to maintain power. Remember, it was under the last administration, Biden, Harris, and their allies, that federal agencies were turned into political weapons. Now, under President Trump, we're seeing what real accountability looks like. The lesson is clear. Challenging the globalist elite and demanding answers can bring the truth to light. Are we ready to question who benefits from these endless deceptions, or will we continue to ignore the obvious truths before us? Be sure to comment below while dropping a like and subscribing. Until next time.